Guys, I don't know if you know this, but I'm technically an OG factions player, whatever you want to call it. Now, I was speaking to some friends the other day, and they were going on about how I'm actually one of the only channels that are still going that originally started raiding back in the day. And I was like, oh my god, I actually am. And I started reminiscing then. And I started looking back at all like the raid videos and stuff I've done in the past. And I was like, oh my god, I have actually been doing factions since before factions even existed. Well, I think factions may have just been starting. I think it may have just about started. But I was playing on servers that weren't even factions. This, like, I've done maybe over 800 faction videos or raid videos. That's 800 bases raided. Like, take a look at this. We were making a base in like a cave system. Like, it was on the surface. We literally just camouflaged an area. Like, that is something that you would not do in factions nowadays. But this was how, I guess, raiding and raid servers worked back then. Like, things have changed so much. And I feel like sometimes when I play factions, I remember some of this stuff. And I still play by some of this stuff. And I'm very slow to adapt. And I miss this. I really, really, really miss this. Because nowadays, every base is the same. But that's just how factions and raiding has developed, I guess. Okay, well, this is going a little bit off topic. But even back then, servers were so much more quieter. Now, the reason why servers were so much quieter was because obviously Minecraft wasn't really taking off just yet. Obviously, it was huge, but you know, factions raiding wasn't taking off like just yet. It took a while for it, maybe a year later after you're watching this clip. But everyone knew everyone, and there was really big rivalries. And I have loads of stories about rivalries back in the day. It was just really, really awesome. Now, this is going off topic, but it just used to be so fun. And by the way, guys, do I miss how the bow used to work? Like, I don't know if you guys are around for that. I don't know when you started playing Minecraft. Actually, that's something you should comment down below. When did you start playing Minecraft? But when you could spam those bows, that was just so satisfying to kill someone like that. But anyway, back to the raiding part. But as you can see, like, look at the bases that you would raid. Look at that. It's a huge castle. And the thing is, back then, I think we walked 20,000 blocks to get it. And back then, you had no speed pots. None of that existed. It was just you and your legs, and there was no sprint either. So there was no sprint. So 20,000 blocks, no sprint, no nothing. But just, it's more obviously walking blocks. That's not. I don't miss walking 20,000 blocks. Don't worry. But I miss this. Look at this. This is like you're raiding a full-blown castle. Like you're walking in. And obviously, yeah, you would grief. But you would hope, since the maps were so big, that you wouldn't get found. But it used to be so cool. And that's probably the reason why I kept bringing back Faction SMP. And I would start it. Because I really want the old days to come back. But it just never, ever feels the same. But just look at, like, just going around the castle, raiding everything, taking everything, and then griefing it. Griefing was a huge part back then. And I think I can't exactly remember. But this thing you're looking at right now, I think we knew who these guys were, and we were trying to track them down for ages. They were big rivals and stuff. We knew they lived in the castle, and what we were kind of going for, as you saw, we were building a little bit of a cave. We were like we wanted to be like little, kind of like a rebel kind of force, I would say. I don't know how you put it. We didn't have big castles. We kind of hid underground, and we were pretty much proper raiders. These guys, I remember, worked with another faction or another castle all the way at the other side of the map, and I knew they did a lot of trading, so that we knew they're rich, and we found quite a lot of good stuff, but we blew most of it up. But then shortly, maybe a few months later, everything started moving underground. Now, this was still a lot of fun because it was this is where I grew and still love to this day searching for raids, because people would build massive layers underground, huge layers underground, and you would have a squad underground. So obviously we know these bases now as entity bases, but back then these entity bases, or these underground bases pretty much, were the shizzle whizzle. They were awesome. You would get loads of epic stuff because people didn't store stuff in the faction base. Like, if you see a entity base now in Minecraft, you usually think, oh, it's a poor noob living there. But before, there could have been 20 people living in this base. That was their main bases. That was the defense, just hiding it and hoping no one found it. And that's how you had to used to, like, look for clues and stuff to see if there was a base down there or anything like that. And when you found a base, it was the most satisfying thing ever. Things have just changed. Now, I love factions, like, currently, in this moment in time. But you just can't beat this kind of style of factions. But it's just it's kind of gone now, which is a shame. But like, I think it's maybe because I was there at the time and I know how it feels, and that's what I just want. But you know what I mean? If I never played factions like during this time, I wouldn't really care and I wouldn't really want to experience this. I wouldn't like this, but maybe it's because I was just there. But it was just crazy. Like, it just moved, like, it moved so fast, thinking. But it just used to be the most satisfying thing. You could break, like, a tree, and, like, there could be a secret ladder going down into a base. It used to be so cool. So, roll on a few months, and that's when you start to see the whole factions coming together. Freeze right there! See that? That is, like, pretty much a faction based nowadays, but obviously 10 times scaled. But that's where it started to happen. People started putting water over the base. Faction servers started coming alive, and that's when it started. And yeah, but at this time it was kind of interesting because in no way did you see cannons like there are today. But it was still interesting because raiding was still like kind of like, you know, it was still fast paced and still satisfying. People didn't just build obsidian boxes or anything like that. It was like, you know, they'd actually decorate. Like, that guy had windows in his base. You can see that. It was awesome. I loved it. It was so cool. And also, you still had the mix of actual unclaimed bases, like underground bases that were super up, and like people had like squads underground and just having a big massive lair, and you know, it was just awesome. It was just absolutely awesome. And that's also when TNT cannons started coming around, but they were just baby TNT cannons. And actually, another really interesting thing was back then, like, overclaiming was a big thing. That was a thing you did. I remember we camped outside this wooden base, I don't know, for like 2 or 3 hours. This is back when I was younger and stuff, and I had nothing to do and just play Minecraft all day. Oh wait, I do that now. but we sat out there for 3 hours, and this is when we were really into Minecraft. And we sat out there, and we were like, okay, we want to raid this base so bad. It looked so good. We knew they're rich. We got intel about them, because obviously on faction servers, everyone knew everyone. They knew if this guy was rich, whatever, who was trading with who, all that kind of stuff. But we waited 3 hours for him to come online, and we snuck in and started spawn camping him just so we can overclaim him. Like, overclaiming was just a huge thing to do. Like, it just was. But now overclaiming doesn't really happen as much anymore. Like, no one really focuses on it. But like, that's what made raiding also fun, because people would actually come outside their like wooden houses or just wooden kind of nice place, not like a normal faction base we have today where it's like lava and gen walls, but like they'd come out and they would defend their home. So obviously if they lost, they would take that loss and they would then get overclaimed. But everyone did it. No one wasn't really afraid to come out, put it that way. But it was just really interesting and just different. But then, guys, the betraying started to happen. I don't know what it was. Just for ages, just everyone betrayed. And this was like, this is when, you know, factions started actually becoming factions. If you're watching it, like, I'm sure you're watching this clip right now, because I'm editing in, of course you are. But you can see people are starting to put obsidian around the base. Now, we are skipping a few months in the timeline here, maybe even a year, I don't even know. But you can see people are starting to build sky bases. This is when you start to see your current factions, and, you know, betraying's involved, you know, overclaiming isn't really involved anymore, and more canning. So either canning, betraying, or you find really an entity base. That's the best way to put it. But then entity bases weren't that great anymore. But then sky bases with the shizzle whizzle. So I guess, like, you know, it kind of changed. But now, if you look at it now, entity bases are pretty bad, usually. Unless you get, like, an odd one that can be really rich. And sky bases are now kind of ripperoni pepperoni completely. So it's just changed so much. I am no way, in any way, dissing current factions whatsoever. I love it. But it's just funny to see how things have changed in the last, like, 4 years. It's just funny. And I miss the old days of how everyone knew everyone, and, you know, you could go out and search raids, and, you know, no one built the same base. Like how can I put it? Everyone just builds with factions now. Obviously, since how it works, there's like a square box. You build a square box, you gen some walls, and everyone has the same base. Obviously, yeah, you can change the interior, but just like there's, you know, it just used to be so epic when you used to walk like maybe 10,000 blocks to go raid a massive castle that you heard about. And the thing was, back then, you only heard about it. You didn't know if it was true. You can either waste your time walking 10,000 blocks, or you can listen to your source, because usually you had sources who would give you intel on other people, because the map was so huge and stuff like that. And there wasn't really much of TPing about, put it that way. But it's just changed a lot. But just, I don't know, I just started looking through old videos, and I really started reminiscing, and I just wanted to talk about this and see if you guys were around for any of this. I have some awesome stories of back in the day, and if you guys would like to hear them, slap a like button, let me know, and I'll see if I can go through some of my old videos and footage and see if I can recreate it. Now, the warning is, if I ever do it, there was a lot of swearing, and I have improved the hell in YouTube. Like, I have improved a lot, because looking back at my old videos, I just sounded really, my voice just sounded dead. Now, I don't know, like, I just didn't sound energetic. Now, I don't know if it's just because I was growing up and stuff, you know what I mean? I grew into my voice. I don't know. But guys, technically, I am an OG raider. Boom, beat that. No, I'm sure some of you guys are. Maybe, I don't know. But obviously, OG doesn't mean I'm the best raider ever. I'm just average still. But I've been playing this for a pretty long time, and I'm still a noob. So that's an achievement. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoy this little story episode. I don't know, reminiscent episode. Make factions great again, even though it is great, but just bring the old factions back on just one server so we can maybe experience it again. I don't know. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and I'll catch you in the next one.